Today I'm in our local community park anxiously awaiting the start of softball and baseball, but we had a few problems during the off season, as you might have seen from the thumbnail. I'm going to tell you what happened and show you what I think could help to fix it. I hope you stick around. This is the Harlan Community Park. It's the heart and soul of our small, unincorporated rural town. I don't live in Harlan, but this is my hometown, our hometown. My dad played ball here as a kid, my brothers and I played ball here, and now my daughters, nephews, and niece all play here. The best way to bring yourself out of a winter slump is to get out on these fields. And I gotta tell you, coaching your kids on the same ball diamonds that you grew up on instills a tremendous sense of pride in your local park. And like so many others in the community, this park is part of our family heritage. The park is busy with baseball and softball all summer, just as it should be. And then, the first weekend in August arrives. For over 70 years now, this weekend has been reserved for Harlan Days. Every year, a dedicated crew of volunteers transforms the outfields into a festival midway where the entire community comes back together from near and far to assemble for what can only be described as a homecoming. Community pride and the love of our park swells during Harlan Days. This is our primary fundraiser in which we generate all of the funds needed for operation and maintenance of the park because we can't draw from any tax base since Harlan is not incorporated, and I'm always proud at how much work the community puts forth in order to raise the little bit of money we need to keep the park afloat. We make just enough money to pay our bills. And then, after school starts, it's soccer league time, and the park is busting at the seams every Saturday until October. I can't believe how popular soccer has become in the last 10 years, but it's a huge hit around here. Even though the outdoor season draws to a close after soccer is over, the Harlan Park Shelter House, as we call it, acts as a local gathering place for meetings, parties, and get-togethers of all kinds. It's amazing to think how many families in our town feel at home in this building, just as our family does every Christmas and family reunion. The rental money goes towards keeping the heat and the lights on, and it pays for the dumpster outside that handles our trash. And this is where one of our problems starts. The dumpster setup works out great most of the time. Unfortunately, it's become somewhat of a local dumping spot. And it would be tolerable if they could just get the stuff in the dumpster, but people find a way to abuse things. Appliances and garbage are always on the ground around it. The dumpster situation is just a nuisance, but what really has us worried over the last year is the sudden rise in vandalism to the park grounds. It seems that not everyone in our community is full of pride for our park. Damage to the lawn from cars and ATVs happens several times a year. It's mostly kids out joyriding, we get it. But the park is covered by nearly 18 acres of grass, so it's hard to monitor it all. And the retired volunteer mowing crew would like nothing more than to catch the little SOBs that keep doing this. But we roll it out and we move on. But then, the worst thing I've ever seen in the park happened this past December. Arsons thought it would be funny to set fire to our rented portable toilets. And the toilets would have been bad enough, but these particular porta-johns were sitting right next to our red equipment shed. The contents of the red shed was all of our ball diamond equipment, bases and line chalkers, rakes and shovels, sponsorship signs, and scoreboard controllers, baseballs and softballs, all the things you'd expect to be in a baseball shed. All said and done, we estimate the loss to be over $10,000, including the shed. And no, insurance won't cover it because this little building wasn't named in the policy for whatever reason. It's a devastating blow to a park with an already very limited budget. You know, maybe it was an accident and they didn't mean to set it on fire. I'd like to offer the benefit of doubt. But then, another call came in the same week. The shelter house had been broken into. Vandals put a rock through the window, causing another mess for volunteers to clean up and another bill to raise money for. We can raise money to cover our material losses, but it's the loss of faith and trust in the youth of our local community that really hurts, and it angers everyone. But to the prideful, it feels personal. So yeah, we've tried security cameras even before all of this to try to fight the dumpster problem mainly, but it gets complicated. Back then, you needed an internet source and power for the cameras, so we started by trying those cheap dummy cameras that don't really do anything. They're just fake, but they work about as well as a scarecrow after he's been in the garden too long. I managed to talk our local internet provider into outfitting the entire park with Wi-Fi for free, and then I installed 2 cameras where I had an easy power source and I could still reach the Wi-Fi. But I had trouble maintaining good internet connections and I had to reset them once a week from losing Wi-Fi. It was an unreliable nightmare. Then the Wi-Fi antenna got hit with a foul ball and it knocked out our free internet for good. So for several months now, the park board has been thinking about what we can do that would be practical and affordable in terms of new cameras to monitor more areas of the park. More than likely, we were going to start with some of those trail cameras, and then out of the blue, the answer may have shown up in a random email that I received. So as a YouTuber, I always have random companies wanting to send me free stuff to review and put in a video, and most of them I ignore because I wouldn't use them myself. Like this company that wanted to send me some free SIM cards to try out. I really didn't have a need for a SIM card, so I respectfully declined their offer at first, but then they fired back saying they were willing to provide a completely wireless, solar charged, battery operated security camera to go with the SIM cards. It took me all of about 2 seconds to know where I was going to try out these EIOTCLUB SIM cards and the ReoLink solar powered security camera. These cameras are exactly what the park needs. They are battery powered but can recharge themselves with the optional solar panel. This means you can put them anywhere there is access to sunlight to keep them charged, and you've got a good cell signal. The 4G SIM cards provided by EIOTCLUB work on AT&T and T-Mobile networks and will connect the camera to the internet via a cellular connection just like your smartphone, so there's no need for wires or Wi-Fi. To activate the cards, you have to enter the card number into their website, pay for the plan you want, and then when you put it in the camera, it registers and activates automatically. I literally just put the card in the camera and it worked. So you can buy the camera outright from somewhere like Amazon, and then you pay for a monthly or annual subscription fee for the SIM card. The prices vary based on what you want to use it for, but for this purpose, I expected it to be about $100 per year per SIM card. And if this works, it could be exactly what we're looking for in what looks to be a fairly affordable solution. Links for the SIM cards and the camera will be in the description below, so you can check on the most current pricing on your own. But at the time of this recording, the camera and solar panel was about $275, and with the SIM card, you're essentially paying for whatever data plan you need. I experimented at home first, trying the camera in a couple random places to see how well the motion sensor worked and how good the resulting video captures would be. The camera can and will save all of the captures to an internal micro SD card, so you don't need any monthly cloud service. The way I'm using it, I think when you want to watch a recorded event, it just streams it from the SD card of the camera to your phone app, or you can take the card out and retrieve it like what you're seeing right now. It actually works really well. Every time I drove in front of the camera, it sent an alert to my phone, and when I went back to look at the video capture, I could clearly see the event that triggered it. There's live audio and a microphone capability too. I can talk through my phone to the camera and hear what the camera hears. It doesn't like wind, but when it's calm, it's really cool. It can also pan, tilt, and zoom the camera with my phone, and that is also very handy. Plus, another benefit for me as a YouTuber, or really anyone that likes to take video, and this doesn't need the SIM card either, by the way, but it has a time-lapse capability. It's really easy to set up a time-lapse from the app, and this would be really nice on a long-term construction project, or I could even put this thing in a field and capture a growing crop over the course of an entire season. Well, there's a lot of review videos out there to get the specifics on the camera on your own, and for that matter, there are a lot of cameras and devices out there that can use these EIOTCLUB SIM cards. So I'll just move on to showing you how it worked for me. So the first order of business for me was to make it portable. I wanted to be able to move it around quickly and easily for testing, and just use a ladder in the back of my truck to mount it on a pole or a tree. So I mounted it to a treated 2x6. This will kind of protect it from the rain and the snow too. My first target was the dumpster by the shelter house. It felt like I had set a huge mousetrap and the dumpster was bait, so now all I had to do was wait, or so I thought. I waited a few days and didn't think I was really getting too many alerts, so I went up there to test it out. Okay, we're coming back to the park right now. I've had the camera up in the park for a couple days now, and yesterday I hardly got any alerts, any notifications on my phone. So I'm worried that it isn't working that well, and I just want to test it. So I'm going to drive up like I'm going to put something in the dumpster and see if I get a push notification. I guess that'll tell us whether or not it's working, or maybe just that many people haven't been through here lately. So I can see the camera now. It ought to be able to see me. Oh, right there, I just got a notification. Right there, camera alert now. Can you see the screen? So in order to play back an alert that just happened, you have to hit playback. And this is where it's been a little dicey. Sometimes it doesn't load the info that great. Like right now, it's having trouble loading the info. And I think this is all dependent on how good your cell data is. But here's my timeline. So it shows that I had alerts at 2:30, 2:40, 3:01, 3:04. So this 3:04 is going to be me. So I have to select which alert I want to view, and then hopefully it'll play back and it'll show us pulling up here. Oh, right there we are. That worked. Can you see the camera up there? To go to a live view, you hit back, and we can select this right here. I've got it set to the low resolution. It tends to load a little bit better when it's on that low resolution. And so there we are right now. I'll put my hand outside the door. Yep. I guess it's working fine. I'm going to let it go a little bit longer and see if we can catch somebody trying to throw stuff in the dumpster. Turns out the motion sensor is working fine. And the other thing I like is that if the motion continues in front of the camera, then it will continue to record instead of shutting off after 10 seconds like some of the other cameras I've tried. The first ones up there in the park did that. They recorded for about 10 or 15 seconds and then they'd shut off and you miss stuff. So in terms of my review of the EIOTCLUB SIM card and the ReoLink camera, they have both been working really well for about 2 weeks now. The only issue I've seen is that the camera app on my phone is sometimes a little clunky. It doesn't always load the live feed or the playback video captures on the first try, but if I select it multiple times, it will eventually load. You know, it might be dependent on how good the cellular service is too for the camera and your phone, so I'm not sure whether to blame the app or the cell coverage. And actually though, in the last couple of days, it hasn't been doing that very much at all, so it's not a huge complaint from my perspective. And truthfully, if we have multiple cameras in the park, I'm not going to be looking at every notification. No, for our application, it's going to be very unlikely that we actually capture someone in the act of vandalism, but we would hope that we capture some evidence that will help us find them. So I'm excited to see how this may work out for us. My plan is to propose to our park board that we buy 5 or 6 of these SIM cards and cameras, and then I'll install the camera app on the phones of 5 or 6 retired park enthusiasts, and they can each monitor a camera of their own in hopes of catching some bad guys. But I'm actually thankful to report that after 2 weeks, I didn't capture anything negative on this camera yet. But I don't want to catch anyone. Our goal and our aim is to change the behavior, to change the mindset of the youth or the otherwise vandals that choose to do damage in our local park. So what I'm saying is I hope this camera does the trick. I hope it thwarts off any would-be vandals, and we never have a problem from here on out. I want to thank you so much for clicking on this video. I hope you liked it. And if I'm lucky, I will see you in the next one. Take care. Well, that's a pretty big screw up on my part. I was trying to get some really nice drone shots of me installing that camera. And I put it down in the tree. It's supposed to have obstacle avoidance going down, so I don't know. My fault. My fault.